So the voice actor for Geralt in The Witcher 3 was actually on stream, it looks like, and he was asked a question about Geralt in The Witcher 4 and stuff, and he let a little something slip away. Let's hear what he had to say.
4 has been announced. I can't say anything about it. What we know is that Geralt will be part of the game. We just don't know how much, and the game won't focus on Geralt, so it's not about him this time. We don't know who it's about. I'm excited to find out. I want to know. I have not seen any script yet. I have not. I couldn't tell you if I did. This is the thing. So, I could be lying through my teeth.
It's weird because like you can hear Geralt in his voice, but he doesn't have like the added grit added to it, but you can still hear it. I find it really interesting. Anyway, I don't know if he was supposed to say that he that he has been contacted and that Geralt's going to be in the game, because as of right now, I don't think that's been officially confirmed. It was already discussed how this wasn't going to be about Geralt. They were going to have a new protagonist. What's up in the air is whether that new protagonist is character created. So in other words, like whether you get to design your own Witcher and make them look the way you want them to look and all that, or if it's going to be like Siri or something. That's what has been discussed, and that's what is currently unknown, is who you'll play as. And it sounds like he doesn't know either. At least he's not willing to say. But Geralt being in the game, that, as far as I'm aware, is breaking news.
I can't say anything about it. What we know is that Geralt will be part of the game.
Yeah, I don't think we knew that. Maybe I'm just out of the loop, but I don't think we knew that. But the reason why that's interesting is because it means that the timelines are going to be roughly the same. So maybe we see like a really young Geralt, or maybe we see a really old Geralt. Who knows? Maybe they have Toussaint as a place where you can visit, and you can go find Geralt at the villa where, the not Hearts of Stone, where the Blood and Wine DLC ends. Maybe you can find him in his villa and at the vineyard. That could be super cool and just like a fun little nod. Or maybe he takes more of a direct role in the campaign. We don't know. Now, after people heard that Geralt was going to be in it, he says he's going to be in it. Presumably he's going to play him, which is why he's been told, like, get ready for it. People then inferred from that, oh, well, maybe that just points at Ciri being the playable character. Maybe that's what they're going to do. They're going to have Ciri as the protagonist. And some people were like, see, another example of them going woke. And here's the thing. There are plenty of examples in the games industry of activists getting involved into game stories and making them objectively worse. Okay, it does happen. It's demonstrable, and it's in those times where the games flop because the stories are written by not writers but by activists who are not writers. Otherwise they'd be writers and not activists first. So there are real instances of that happening. We don't know if that's what's happening here. And Ciri is a character that was beloved by everybody in the gaming community. What? Oh my God, we're old. 9 years ago when the game launched? Jesus Christ, we're old. Yeah, 9 years ago. Oh God, I'm gonna have a mental breakdown just thinking about that. That was 9 years ago. The Witcher 3 was not, okay. Moving on, otherwise I'll lose it. Everybody loves Ciri, okay? But now, because she's a girl, we're gonna freak out about it. That is stupidity upon stupidity. Now, if we come back to The Witcher 4 and they announce that Ciri is actually now, like, they've recast her and it's gonna be like, maybe they like cast Lizzo as Ciri, and then they just pretend like Ciri never looked like this and that Ciri was always Lizzo, and we're bigots for noticing, then we have a right to be upset, okay? Then I think people would be like, you're calling us racist and all these names when we're just pointing out that this is not the same Ciri that we had before. In that case, yes, we can all be upset. But as of right now, we are speculating that they might have Ciri as a character in a game that's years away. And in that case, I think we're just speculating, okay? It's not worth freaking out over anything. There is no scandal. We're all just speculating. Yeah, they they announced Jack Black as Geralt. Dude, that would Jack Black as Geralt and Kate Blanchett as a reincarnated Vesemir or something, or they just, that would be really funny. Anyway, all I'm saying is that Will Smith is Ciri. How dare you, Justino? Jesus Christ. Anyway, There is no scandal right now. I've seen people try and turn this into a scandal. Them just like this guy saying Geralt's going to be in it, but he's not the protagonist. We've all known that was a thing for a long time. We've all known that this was going to be the route they went. None of this is news to anybody who's been following it. And this is why, for me, I don't take a lot of that, like this initial knee-jerk outrage that seriously. And it's just because people who actually really care about The Witcher have known about the pivot away from Geralt since the end of Blood and Wine. They were very clear 8 years ago, because that was 2016. So 8 years ago when Blood and Wine came out, that was the end of Geralt's story. And that's how it was framed. I mean, that was the end of his story, and it was a good send-off. So we all knew this. We all knew that the next game was not going to be focused on Geralt. But that's why, like, I don't take it that seriously when these people freak out about it, because it's clear they're not really, like, the core fans. They're just people looking to get upset about, like, cultural issues and stuff that are going on in the broader political discourse of the world right now. So I know some people like sent in chats earlier in the stream were like, hey, what do you think about them rewriting The Witcher to have a whatever protagonist? Like, we're speculating about what might happen because a voice actor said he'd return but wouldn't be the star of the show. That's all. There's nothing to be upset about. There's also, to be fair, not really much to be excited about because we literally don't know anything. We just know that they're making it in Unreal Engine 5 and we won't have Geralt as the protagonist. I mean, that's really all we know about it. So there really is not much to go on. You know, it's just, we don't know. It's not even upsetting. It's boring. You mean pivoting away from Geralt as the protagonist? I mean, I don't know if it's boring. I actually really like the idea of a fully customizable Witcher because I think fully customizable characters with selectable backgrounds in the character creation, I think that worked relatively well in Cyberpunk once they polished everything out. Unique dialogue options, all sorts of stuff like that. Like, imagine if you select your Witcher and you get to choose your background, where your family's from, where you came from, stuff like that. Could be really, really interesting to see how that ties into future like dialogue decisions and stuff. It could be really, really cool. And on the flip side, if they have you play as Siri, that also brings all sorts of really unique abilities and powers that she has with her blood that a regular Witcher wouldn't have. So there's also advantages to that. So there's just many reasons to be intrigued by it, but getting outraged about it now is just a little silly. In my humble opinion, it's pretty stupid. It's not even a little silly. It's just pretty stupid. But it's at least fun to talk about The Witcher again because I love The Witcher. So I've actually been playing it a lot because our patrons voted for The Witcher 3 and its DLC to be the next big video we do after this Starfield one we just did. So I've been replaying The Witcher game, The Witcher 3 and the DLC, and having a wonderful time with it. And also replaying it with like the next gen version with all the ray trace lighting and reflections and stuff. Dude, it's not a new game, but man, it's silky smooth. It's pretty nice. I remember, so TJ, it's funny you say that. I'm sure this is a crazy take to most, but I could never get into The Witcher. I never found it fun or interesting. A lot of people had problems with the combat, and a lot of people I remember had a huge problem with the amount of cutscenes in The Witcher. People thought that The Witcher was basically a cutscene simulator and didn't like how conversations could go on for 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a time. And they freaked out about it. Part of it, I think, is because the pacing of The Witcher 3, honestly, especially subsequent run-throughs, not that great. Like, it's very dialogue heavy at the front, not as much interaction as you would have expected, and they take a while to open up the world to you. And I really think for the next game they need to push monster contracts more. You're playing a Witcher, like that should be one of the main activities, and they are in The Witcher 3, but it feels like most of your time is spent walking around talking to people or going to big cities chasing Ciri down. And I get why in the context of the Witcher 3 story, but I think those monster fights are what are really, really fun about being a Witcher. And they're not as frequent in The Witcher 3 as you would have expected, at least going back through it again. So I think that could be something that's tweaked and improved, but especially because you could take all sorts of nods from like Monster Hunter games, and you could take nods where it's like, yeah, it's a griffin, but this is like an elder griffin, or This is like another contract. And you could go to the notice board and there's dynamically posted contracts for griffins. And sometimes it's going to be a bigger one, sometimes smaller, sometimes it's going to be male, sometimes female. But you're going and you're hunting them, and it's like, 45-minute to an hour hunt to find it. I think that could be super, super cool instead of just being like one thing, It's like, oh, you did the contract for the Kikimora. It's like, I kind of wish there were more. He took my thing.